Okay, hi everyone. This is the August meeting of transaction review and calculator practice. Appreciate you guys being here. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and get started. I try to make this kind of a quick little 30 minute thing so you can get on with your life. I know we're all like super busy. So today I wanted to focus on an owner financing deal that includes a simultaneous note sale. So you can see how owner financing is playing into the picture and how the note sale may or may not fit into the picture. It doesn't have to, but just showing you what's going on out there in the market. The property type, this seller, I don't know if you were on last month's transaction review, but at that time I was talking about a the second deed of trust I've ever bought. I bought a partial of a second deed of trust. Well, this is this lady. She has her cash in her hand now. So now she's going over here to buy 10 acres of land with fruit and avocado trees. And what she's planning to do is put a modular home on there that's totally on solar, everything else, and have a off-the-grid vacation rental. That's what her passion is. So this is just showing you the continuity of what, when someone can sell a note and get some liquidity going, they can keep going on with their dreams. So she made an offer before. The guy was asking 100,000, but he said, "Honey, I'd take 80,000 cash if you can come up with the cash," which she couldn't at that point. In the very beginning, she was in escrow with this guy a few months ago. All she had to put down, I'm sorry, I gotta mute everybody again. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to just deal with the little chat buttons for right now until we get to the end. But anyway, she had 5,000 down a long time ago, but he's like, "Oh, that's just not enough. I need some cash," right? Well, now because she sold that note, I think she cleared a little more than 41,000. She's now offering the same guy $30,000, and now they're in escrow again. But because he's offering terms, they push the price up to 109. He'd take 80,000 if she could come up with all cash, but if he's got to offer terms, he's going to maximize the price. And so 109 minus 30,000 down, right, comes up with a 79,000 first owner carryback. Interest rate 7%. This is great terms on vacant land, guys. And then 36 months, that's 3 years, interest only. So the monthly payment is $460.83 per month with a $79,000 balloon. And as you know, I like to do the little thing to go along here, where just so you guys totally, we're going to go over this so many times that you could do it in your sleep. So basically 109 purchase price minus $30,000 down payment. And what is that? It's not quite a 33% down payment, maybe a 30% down payment, maybe a 28, something like that. Here's the loan amount. So this goes in this number here, right? But we know in 3 years, since it's interest only, there's no amortization, right? So let's make this a negative number because we know that's going to be the balloon over here, right? So then we have 36 months and the interest rate 7%. So what's interest only? Okay, 460.83. Another way to figure it out is just to go 79,000 times 0.07, right? 7% is the same as 0.07 in decimal. So that's 55.30 a year. So we divide the year by 12 months and we get the same exact number, $460.83 per month. Okay, so that's the deal he's agreed to. Now, the only thing, let's see what the next thing, the property, she called me up today and she says, property seller might not be happy because I don't want to ever put my name, my ownership of property in public records. And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, my first recommendation would see land trust first and then LLC or corporation or some other entity as the beneficiary, but she didn't asked me before. She already paid $2,000 to an attorney to set up an LLC in short order. So instead of taking title to the property in her personal name, she wants to take title in the name of her LLC, which is great because that's asset protection and some privacy. But it's a last minute switcho changeo, and she's afraid that, you know, he won't like that. So first she was calling me to say, oh, can you just like give me the paperwork so, you know, I can show him the personal guarantee, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know, I have a base retainer fee and it's really not appropriate. But here's what is appropriate is, why don't you submit with the rest of your offer and your paperwork at the time you're telling him that you're taking vesting in the name of an LLC, and that an LLC instead of an individual will be responsible for paying on the note. Why don't you tell him that I'd be willing to buy the note for $55,000? So remember, it's up here. The seller carry price note is $79,000. Well, tell him I'll buy it for $55,000 right here. That way he won't have to worry if that LLC is going to pay or not, whether or not she gives a personal guarantee. So, you know, so understanding the property seller would have taken, if she could come up with all cash, he would have taken $80,000. So the seller, if he accepts my offer to buy the note green, the seller will get $30,000 from the down payment, $55,000 from the sale of the note, and he'll actually total at closing get $85,000, which is $5,000 more than he said he would take. So, any questions so far on thought process? If so, just type in something over there in the chat and we'll get to it. So, if I'm the note buyer, which I really would like to be, number one, because I already know this lady, I know her other assets, I know the kind of person she is, I've already done business with her, blah, 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 you know, so I would pay $55,000. This is for a green note. That's like a Simo note sale. And, for the right to receive, remember that $460.83 for 36 months with the balloon, and, of $79,000 in 3 years. But let's look at the ITV when I'm figuring out, is this really safe to do? Remember how I usually like to be at 50% or below? Sometimes I'll go up to 60, all right. But so here's my investment to value conversation right here. 55,000, that's what I would be into the deal. And really, I gotta say that the value of the property is 80,000. Why? You know, this guy's been on the market for a while at 100,000, and the only way he got his price is by offering terms. So I know that if I had to sell for cash, it's going to be at least 80,000, right? So I got to say that's the real sale price of the property. It could be even less than that. So, you know, this isn't like my perfect deal, right? I mean, I usually am much more conservative than this. 55,000 divided by the value of the property. I mean, that's 69%. That's almost 70% in ITV, investment to value. You know, it's kind of tight, but I'm going to explain why I still like this deal in a second, and why I still think it's worth it. Number one, like I told you, I know the gal. I know the type of things. She's going to be putting a house on it for starters, which is going to increase the value of the collateral right away, right? But anyway, then my yield would be, if I just bought that note, even though my ITV is kind of high, look what my yield's going to be, 36. I'm going to buy this whole thing instead of at par. I'm not going to pay, you know, face value for the note. I'm going to pay 55,000. So let's put that in the PV right there. Now let's solve for yield and see what we get. Look, my yield on that, if this performs as expected, is over 20%, okay? But here's also, but who cares about 20%? That sounds really nice, but if it doesn't perform, if the payments don't come in, it doesn't really matter how much you bought it at, right? So here's what also I know. They have a property in Costa Rica that they're in escrow and selling for what they say is $150,000 in cash. and they plan to be able to pay off the note within 6 months. Okay, is this a piece of inside information that helps me? Absolutely. Okay, not only who they are and knowing their situation from our past note deal from last month, I know they have more cards up their sleeve right there. So she goes, well, then why don't you just lend us the money? You know, they're saying, if you'll buy the note at 55,000, why don't you just make us a hard money loan so that we can buy it for 80,000? And I go, okay, well, if we did that, let's just explore what that would look like, and here's why I don't recommend it. You know, hard money loans, especially on vacant land, are really expensive, okay, and are kind of risky because they're short term. So let's look at what I might do if I was lending. Okay, so let's say they got the purchase price. She changed her offer and said it's not going to be an owner carryback. It's going to be a hard money loan, basically an all cash deal for $80,000. I'm going to put down $30,000. So then I'm going to get a private hard money loan for $50,000. But look how much between points and fees and all the other yaya that goes with expensive private loans. I mean, it might be something like $5,000. That's like 10 points, you know, all told. And then the interest rate, most hard money land loans are 14 to 16% as far as I know. So let's call it 15%. So what would that make it, right? So if she gets a $50,000 hard money loan, it's going to cost her $5,000 out of pocket. And then let's say make that PV, let's change it to a negative. That's going to be the balloon. But I'm only going to give it to her for 12 months. I don't want, most hard money doesn't want to hang out very long, maybe 18, 24 months at the longest. So let's say all I want to go is 12 months and the interest rate is 15%. Let's see what the monthly interest only payment would be. $625. Of course, just like before, this is how we configure it. 50,000 times 0.15, right? 15% equals 7,500 per year divided by 12 months in a year. So then we get the same number, 625 for the monthly interest only payment. Okay, so that's what probably hard money would look like. It's more expensive for the buyer, whereas discounted paper shifts all the cost of the financing and making the deal work to the seller. So here we have these two things side by side. I hope you can see this okay. Maybe when they record it and edit it, they'll make it even larger so it's easier to see. But okay, if we do the owner carry and note sale, that's one way we can do the deal. And on the right side is going to be the private hard money loan way to go. Okay. So with the owner carry, we have 109 sales price, down payment 30,000, first note and deed of trust at 79,000. That's the owner carrying back the paper. And number one, I mean, you can think of this as a note person, but just think of this as someone who's buying property. If you're trying to buy property without bank financing, but you know that the seller needs more at closing than you have for a down payment, isn't this a great way to get them to say yes when you can show them how they can sell a note immediately, if not all of it, a piece of it, so they get more cash at closing? So this is a great tool for you to think about whether you're a property seller trying to maximize the sale of your property or even just get it sold, right? He's been on the market for a long time. You can see that if you're willing to offer terms, you can get your price and get some cash and move on with your life. If you're a buyer, you can see how the note sale, understanding the secondary market for notes can help you get a deal closed, right? She's getting owner financing. Do you think she can go to a bank and get 7% interest? Their credit is shot, by the way. They have really, really bad credit from a couple of things that went sideways for them in the last couple of years. So there's no way they're going to get financing, 70% loan to value financing at 7% on vacant land. Well, I may not know everything that's out there, but I would say that's probably unlikely. So they got a monthly payment of $460. The balloon, they get 3 years to pay this thing off, right? And here's the thing I told her, because I know she has this Costa Rica property that's selling. I said, look, if you actually do pay off within the 6 months, I won't make you pay the 79,000 balloon. I'll knock off 10,000, and you can do a short payoff at 69,000. Okay, so is that a good deal? That's a pretty good deal, right? So, because if he keeps the note and doesn't sell it to me, then if she wants to pay off the loan in 6 months, she's got to pay 79,000 to the guy carrying paper, right? The seller of the property now is the holder of the note. He's gonna want his whole bit of money, right? But if I buy the note at a discount, I can afford to give her a short payoff, knowing that she really wants to pay the thing off. Okay, so really, isn't that just her helping her get the property for like 99,000 instead of 109,000? I'm making the cost of acquisition like $10,000 cheaper for her, and I'm getting a killer. I'm getting a really sweet deal, right? 20% plus yield in a deal I feel comfortable with for a variety of reasons, even though the ITV's, a little past my normal thought processes and underwriting guidelines. But look, if something goes sideways with that Costa Rica deal, and they don't come up with the extra cash to pay off the balloon, then they actually have some room to breathe, right? They got 3 years to get that modular home on there, to get their vacation rental going, to get cash flow from that, and they got 3 years to pay off that balloon. Okay, so any questions so far just on that part? All right, so now let's go to the other side of this. Hard money loan, sales price $80,000, down payment $30,000, first note, like hard money note, right? Loan $50,000. Closing costs are going to be $5,000. What are closing costs over here? Nothing. Okay, the seller's not going to charge her points and fees to carry back the loan for her. But if I have to put on the hat of a hard money lender on vacant land, I'm going to have to get really kind of snarky. As much as I like this whole deal, it's just the nature of the game, because, it's just how it is, okay? For the most part. These are generality. Interest rate 15%, so we already showed her monthly payment is $625, but the balloon is due in 12 months instead of 36 months. That's a lot tighter. She only has 1 year. She better really hope that all her ducks are in a row and that Costa Rica property closes and there's no, side swipes on that deal. Otherwise, in a year, she's going to have another notice of default and potentially lose that precious $30,000 that they pulled out of the note sale to me last month on their other property. So it leaves them with very little wiggle room, because the hard money loan people just don't like to hang out for very long, whereas we can see that sellers who carry paper sometimes are a lot happier to go longer, because number one, if he took the whole money, he might put it in a 1% CD, but at least he's making 7% here, and he's going, well, 3 years is okay, Whereas the hard money people are like, hey, I got to turn my money around. I don't want to be stuck in anything too long, blah, 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 blah. It's a different mindset. So, continuing on with our comparison, total acquisition of the owner carry and note sale is the $30,000 down payment plus loan closing costs $0. Monthly is $460.83, and if she pays this off in 6 months like she's expecting to, then her total carrying costs for 6 months, or her interest payments on that, will be about $27.65. And then remember, with the discount I'll give her, if she pays off within 6 months, I'll give her $10,000 break on the principal. Okay, so her total acquisition for the property is $101,765, right? Basically, $99,000 plus the cost of interest for as long as she needs to pay it off. But if something goes wrong and they can't, or they decide not to pay off this balloon early, that's fine. They've got 3 years to work with the money. And so then they'll pay $460.83 for 36 months. Total of interest payments almost $17,000. So then the $30,000 down payment, the interest, the balloon at the end, they'll pay a total of $125. And over here, if I'm just going to put this down for a second, the total acquisition is same down payment. Over here, not zero closing costs, but $5,000 closing costs all told, everything. The monthly payment for 6 months is about $1,000 more on the interest payment in just 6 months. The balloon in 6 months here is $69, but here it's only $50 because they borrowed only $50. So the total acquisition here, if she really could pay off within 6 months, is $88,750. So basically you can see there's maybe, if everything went perfectly in her world, maybe she'd make an extra $10,000 to $12,000 doing it this way, right? But, and even if they went out, right, 12 months, they'll pay $7,500 interest, they'll still get the whole thing for $87,500. But they don't have much room, right? I mean, they gotta perform within 12 months. Here they have 3 years. So yeah, they could save, $10,000 to $12,000 doing the deal this way, but they have so little room if something goes wrong in their plan. So I don't think that, I don't think that's enough to tie yourself into a really expensive short-term deal. I think having this flexibility it makes sense to just pay a little bit more money, for that, okay? Because they can keep their money working for them. They can get their rental going, their business going, so that it's very easy for them to pay this instead of really stressful for them to pay this. So that's kind of my little gig for tonight, wanting to show how people are buying and selling with owner financing. Of course, this is a free and clear property. The seller didn't have a bank loan against it or a private loan or anything. So and then it's just showing how the note sale helps the deal come together, and how me as a note buyer would be happy, and how it actually works even better for the seller and the buyer, because this guy, he's just saying, please give me 80,000 cash. I got other stuff going on with my life. And the buyer is getting to buy a property they really, really, really want. It's like got these trees, like fruit and avocado trees, and it's by a river, and they just love off the grid living, and so they're gonna get to continue their dream that got totally sideswiped up with their other property. They couldn't hang with it, and they kind of lost a lot of money there. So, and then I would get a great investment, right? I mean, let's look at what happens if, I didn't even do this one on the slide, I don't know why. But let's say, why can I afford to give them a $10,000 discount, right? So first, this is the original note, right? If I buy it, if he carries back the paper and doesn't balk at the LLC thing they're trying to do, then here's how this will look. I'm recreating the note. We're thinking he's going to carry back, make it negative for the balloon, because we know the balloon's going to be the same as the loan amount because it's only interest only. So we get back to our $460.83. So if I buy this note for $55,000, oops, there, and it takes the 3 years for it to work through. We already showed that I'd make $20.67, but what if this paid off in 6 months? What if term, the end number over here is only 6? Look at what my yield is then. Holy cow. Okay, so let me knock, I can afford, right? I can afford to knock 10,000 off of that balloon for her and still really, really do well. And I deserve to, because this is a vacant land green note purchase, right? There is some risk. I'm not pretending that there's not some risk. Then what my yield would be 55%. Okay, but it'll still do great for me. Even if she goes 6 months, I'll do great. If she goes 12 months or 36 months, I'll be great, because I'll get my 55,000 back plus an extra 14 grand as a pop in my pocket, right? So it'll work better for everybody. Okay, so anyway, that's it for tonight, and I just like these to be short little 30-minute gigs. Unless does anyone, I'm going to try to unmute everybody. So if anyone has questions or a deal that you're working on, we can talk together right now. So I'm trying to unmute you one by one. Okay, and anyone have any questions, comments, or deals that you're working on that you want help with? Someone said thanks. Okay, great show. Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it. All right, well, is it, I'll give one more second here, but I don't want you to be nervous like you have to say something, but I really appreciate you being here, and it's a really fun conversation that's evolving, and how we're, without the banks, we're making deals come together that really, does right by everybody. So anyway, thanks. I will see you. Just to let you know, the next Owner Financing Club meeting, it's going to be very cool. I found this gal that she's doing tons and tons and tons. I mean, they have 240. She and her partner have 240 doors, meaning that's how many properties they own. And they've taken them all subject to, and they've gotten permission from the bank. So they totally got around that due on sale clause that scares everyone. So we're going to totally be talking about subject to owner financing strategies and how they're building their passive income empire with that. So that's on the third Monday, which I want to say is on the 20th of August. So if you can make that, would love to have you there. And as always, during the week, in the meantime, I'll do my best to answer questions and phone calls that you guys have. But if not, let's meet on the meetings. Even that frequently asked question time at the end of every month would be great. Okay, every last Saturday I had 3 or 4 people on the line, and we had a really great chat. So anyway, wishing you all success. Appreciate all of you, and until next time, you guys take care. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Peggy. Thanks, Renee.
Thank
I
you.
love you too. All right. Bye-bye.